I tell myself I am strong, thicker than the glass, muscles wound tight as gallows rope.
My name is Nathan Pobieglo. I'm 17 years old and currently attending King Tech film class.
Nice, nice. For people who haven't seen your film, Siamese Fighting Fish, what is it about?
So it is a movie or a film that I made that is set to a poem I wrote a while back. That is, obviously it's inspired by betta fish and Siamese fighting fish. That it's kind of, I would say it's about ways that people kind of forcibly define themselves and limit ourselves and our identities.
Yeah. What inspired you to make this film?
So it was part of an assignment for the film class, but I've been writing poetry for a while, and even outside of film class, I've always wanted to make a film either inspired by or just set to a read-through of a poem I wrote. So being given this opportunity, I figured that I would take it, you know?
Yeah. What was the process like for you creating this film? Was anything harder than you thought it would be?
Originally I had a lot more that I wanted to do. I wanted to do a lot more layered visuals. I had a lot more ideas that I wanted to do with a projector at the office I work at, but it didn't end up working out. So a lot of the kind of visual layering I did end up being able to do in post during the sort of montage scenes that I'm pretty happy with. There was a lot more that I wanted to do is kind of the main thing that didn't work out, but I plan on trying to do some more of it in future projects.
I know that you are famous for running the Alaska Loon Cam, but Siamese Fighting Fish was your first creative film. How does it feel to have your first film ever shown to a large audience and to be received with in such a positive manner by your peers?
Really insane, honestly. I had the privilege of being able to work on the film with my friends. Everybody who acted and helped shoot were people that I was friends with, who I wanted to involve in this project because it meant a lot to me. And I've said this before, but obviously I knew that people would be supportive because they're my friends, you know? But putting it out there and seeing like the amount of people who were very supportive, kind of coming out of the woodworks, was really insane to me. And I definitely didn't expect it. I submitted it to the after school special. It's kind of like a Hail Mary that, like, even if it didn't get accepted, what's like the harm in submitting it? And the fact that it did like get accepted and it was shown to a large group of people and that I was able to stand up on stage in front of people was really insane. And I did not think in a million years that would come from my first creative project.
From what I understand, you write a lot of poetry. What was it like taking a poem that you wrote and turning it into a film?
It was difficult because like I said, I've written a lot of poetry, like you mentioned, that I really had to narrow it down. And I think I ended up going with Fighting Fish because it had the most potential for like visual storytelling. Like it wasn't all like super intensive on what this sucks. Specifically the poem wasn't like super strict on the visuals. So I was able to, I think, tell a story with it that I wouldn't have been able to if it was a different poem.
Is poetry a big inspiration for you when it comes to making films, or just art in general?
Yes, like certainly, yeah. For me, I have been writing poetry for a while, and like especially for, I think the first 3 years that I was writing poetry, it was stuff that I wouldn't share with anyone. It wasn't something I was like super proud of. So only now reaching that point where I'm like wanting to share this with people around the same time that I'm getting into film is like pretty lucky, and I definitely think it influences my filmmaking style in kind of the visual language in the storytelling.
When you were writing this poem, were you thinking of it in visual terms, or did that come later when you were conceiving the film?
I think there were some visuals that were very important in the poem. A lot of it was more of like an idea to be conveyed, but there was some visual language that was supposed to convey like repetition and kind of monotony almost. And I think obviously even the like fish itself being an example of that imagery, that it wasn't all conceptualized visually, and a lot of it, like when I was making the film, a lot of it was kind of a fill in the blanks thing of how I wanted to represent the idea that it went along with.
So, you are also a member of ATMI, Alaska Teen Media, and I've heard that you decided to join ATMI after watching last year's After School specials. Is this like a full circle moment for you, being interviewed now yourself?
This is really insane for me, and since I found out that you would be interviewing me, actually, any chance I've had to bring up that this is like how crazy this is, I've taken it. I was telling my mom this morning how crazy it is that you'd be interviewing me, because I joined ATMI and I got into film seeing you and Mo Spooner's interviews for Out of Breath. And I thought it was so, is this your did you not know this? Is this your actual reaction?
Well, I knew that you joined because of interviews. I just didn't know that mine was part of that. So interesting. Yep. Dang.
So it's really crazy to me to be here.
That is crazy. Dang. Wow. Okay. Anyways, do you have anything you want to say to viewers of this video who might be thinking of joining ATMI?
Well, I am ATMI's top recruiter of this year, and that's
self-proclaimed or genuine?
That is. So I think objectively it is true, but I've kind of given myself that title. ATMI is really amazing, honestly, and I'm not just saying that, but I've met some of the coolest people of my life here and had some seriously incredible opportunities. Even just in filmmaking, I loaned a camera from ATMI to be able to make that film, and if I didn't do that, I would have used my iPhone, and it would have been a lot worse. So just really the opportunities, I guess, with ATMI and the people you get to work with and meet are incredible, and I think anybody at home should sign up. And not just because that's another notch under my belt. When you sign up, tell them I sent you.
All right. What's next for you? Are there any future projects you're working on?
I actually do have a script that I've been working on for some time that I'm planning on making real sometime in the next couple months. I think I'm planning on January, February, maybe March at the latest, that I'm going to be working on with some dear friends of mine. And I guess people just have to see.
Guess you stay tuned. And lastly, just for fun, how many people do you think you could take in?
What?
I'm gonna do that again.
A lot.
No. How many people do you think that you could take in a fight?
How old? Adults?
I'll let you figure that out. I don't know.
A lot of children, I think.
Ballpark it for us.
I think, so adults, probably none. Someone my age, I think I'd maybe one. Little kids, though, I think I'd...
Who do you think would win in a fight between us, me or you?
you've already kind of injured me just with like handshakes today, so I think you would win.
You don't actually have to answer that. Is there anything that we didn't get to that you would like to add?
I think that I just wanted to add that I went back and forth a lot on the idea of even submitting a film to the after school special, because I felt a little silly not having made something specifically for it, but I was really happy with my poetry film and how it came out, and so it took a lot of deliberation for me to end up on, I should submit this because what's really the worst that could happen. So I think that, how do I word this? I think that really people should just take opportunities when they're presented to them, because this was, like I said, a Hail Mary, and it's kind of crazy that I'm here. But, I don't know. This guy gets it.
Okay, we're done, I think.